Alright. Can't believe we're doing this a second time, but here we go again with a Griftlands modding stream where I do some coding in the early access game Griftlands from Clay Entertainment, and sort of share the middle of the process and make mistakes and fix them. Like the first mistake, not hydrating properly before getting started. And generally living in a desert. Thank you for the reminder to hydrate, Muffin Mark. Do very much appreciate it. Alright. As always, this is a very weird thing to get started, because it's like, it's just coding. Or scripting, really. And there's a, especially when you're in the middle of the process, there's a ton of context to start with, and I don't want to leave everyone behind who's watching this, especially the thought after the fact. So, in Griftlands, there's battles and negotiations, each with their own systems and cards and behaviors and whatnot. I'm working on a mod to make this character, Errant, a playable character with their own sort of campaign. Because she is a, lieutenant boss of Rook's story. And I'm trying to, as sort of my first sort of as small as I can reasonably manage scope mod for Griftlands, I want to make a sort of short campaign, which is like behind the scenes of Rook's campaign, one of Rook's campaign days from Errant's perspective. To do that, I've had to define Errant as a playable character with her own deck of cards, based on sort of the Spark Baron behavior. I've had to create her as a battler with that deck of cards. But if Rook's going to be an antagonist of that story, you know, they do have that's this sort of confrontation on Rook's day 3, potentially, might not. But Rook needs behavior. Rook needs AI instructions. And right now he has nothing. I can do whatever I want right now. And he will do nothing. Because he does not have any currently defined behavior. He doesn't attack, he doesn't defend, he doesn't create any arguments, he does absolutely nothing because all his behavior has defined right now is that when he initializes, he gets his core argument, which is an NPC version of his lucky coin mixed with sort of the weakness argument that NPC Errant and Flexus have, where it's depending on whether you're having a sort of special negotiation or just a regular negotiation, just in case I need both. But his lucky coin does flip, does animate, and yeah, now the question, rather the task ahead for today, is to basically invent what his negotiation playstyle is going to be as an opponent, as an NPC opponent, and try and focus on making that feel flavorfully like you're playing against sort of a player version. So primarily going to be focusing on gambling with the coin and sort of mechanics like that. But making an NPC is fundamentally different from making a player with all their options. So, and this is the first time I've actually meddled around with a lot of the AI stuff. I fiddled with, for this version of Rook, this promoted version of Rook I've made for my mod, I've already kind of tweaked some of his battle stuff to make him a bit more stronger as an opponent, because he might be like, he's sort of like a final boss for my planned errant story. But I have not yet touched anything regarding negotiation behavior. I've looked at some stuff, and I also haven't brainstormed anything regarding Rook yet. So we're kind of going to be starting from scratch, and I kind of been saving a little bit to be like, all right, let's go from just kind of like what we did with Errant. We just go from nothing to it kind of works over the next couple hours. I think we can do that, assuming I don't do a bad thing and break something real thoroughly along the way. The difference between last stream and this one was that last stream I had a whole Excel spreadsheet of, you know, planning out what the cards are going to be before I made them, before I coded them and implemented them. Today we are completely starting from scratch because I think there's like less stuff we need to make to reach sort of completion. If you actually look at a lot of AI negotiation stuff, the code and script behind it, it's not actually terribly complicated. But opponents don't really need to be. They need to be challenging and quickly understandable. We don't want to make this too complex, but we do need to make it like properly flavorful. So to start, we're gonna take a look at the compendium and kind of start taking some notes. We'll put the code aside for now. And take a look at Rook's negotiation deck. His collection of cards, and just kind of see if there are any themes that we can latch on to make this work, knowing that we've already got his coin implemented. Like, what would be some good ideas to take inspiration from to make Rook an NPC? Gambling is probably going to be one of the... Call it is probably going to be one I definitely make. Where he flips the lucky coin, which I've got him set up so that either when it flips heads, it applies 2 composure to a random argument. It comes up snails. It deals 2 damage to a random enemy argument. So I'm thinking the main way he wins, the main way he's a threat, is if you let him build up a lot of chances to gamble. Then he's going to become real dangerous real fast, either from amassing a lot of composure or dealing a lot of random damage that you can't really predict or counter hard. And Errant, as her deck is built right now, does not have a whole lot of composure. Does not really have a strong composure engine. Can't really do anything with prepare because he doesn't really have a hand. Influence and dominance don't really apply because enemy attack intents don't really have a type or a range. Overwhelm will just get out of hand, and I've already got overwhelm mechanics on Errant's side. So gamble and call it for sure. I wonder if I might do, like, give him a bog boil or something. wonder if something like Reckless Insults, where he builds up a resource and then spends it to deal a ton, but that's hard to kind of... signal that that's going to happen, and you're going to prevent it. Momentum doesn't really apply. Diversion might actually be right up his alley. Yeah, that might be perfect, actually. He gains 2 resolve every time he gambles, up to 12. This argument must be... It's bait that builds up if you let it. And if he gambles, it combos, and it becomes out of hand. So we might give him Red Herring. Yeah, Diversion sounds like a good argument for him to have. And it's also kind of on theme for how Rook kind of deals with people. You know, a lot of manipulation, and look over there. I guess the question there is, like, will Diversion... Can I just port over Diversion and it'll work on Gamble, or... It might, actually, if it's just listening to the event handler. Or will I have to write my own NPC version? We'll take a look at that. We'll look at Rook's negotiation cards. See how that works. I don't want to give him... I don't want to give him too many arguments. I don't want to make it like too confusing, but I do want him to be kind of special. But call it Diversion. That combos together. I kind of want something that's not quite connected to gambling. I mean, I guess no reason why it shouldn't be like all based around the gamble. You know, something that evokes whenever he gambles would also be pretty threatening. Like an argument that's like whenever you gamble, deal X amount of damage to a random argument, something like that. But that's already kind of what the coin does, so... Ooh, actually, Slugstorm would be real dangerous, and you want to get rid of that real fast, because if it's something that, like, when he gambles and you get this result, this bad thing happens. And of course, actually, having him have a rig as well. Yeah, alright. So, I think Call It will be kind of the argument that's like, at the start of Rook's turn, gamble this many times, and that's how many stacks he has, and he generates like, probably like 1 stack a turn, something like that. And then, every so often he puts down a Diversion, which if you let that get out of hand, that'll be a problem. Can put down a Slugstorm, which if he gambles and gets snails, that deals damage to all of your arguments. I think like 1, but even that will just be very bad. So it'll be a very big threat right on the table, but it doesn't always happen. I think some kind of counterpart to that on heads. Probably Blockade. Apply Composure arguments. Just force multiplier for the coin. Might make the behavior so that he either puts down a Blockade or a Slugstorm and doesn't put down a new one until one of those is dealt with, and only on like certain intervals of turns. That might be our set. That's got flavor, it ties into the coin, and it's how he becomes dangerous. And he'll also have just like basic attack stuff going on, and all that will make him fairly dangerous. In theory, it'll need to be tested, but I think that's a decent concept to start with. So let's do a little more. I'm gonna actually open up my Excel spreadsheet so I can like write down this plan. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget. All right, Rook negotiation. Call it diversion, or red herring rather. Red herring / diversion. We just call it diversion. It's the argument we're getting out of it anyway. It does cost 2. It might be on that turn he doesn't actually like do an attack or something like that. Or he does one less thing when he's doing diversion. Because it is powerful. Powerful enough to cost 2. And rare. Version. And then Slugstorm / Blockade. That's probably enough, like... Actually, an Inception might also be... Have any Inceptions? Huh. Kind of surprised. Ooh, him having a vanish, but it plays off of whenever you play a card. Ooh. Whenever you post-resolve a card, he gambles. That would be... Might be too much, actually. But an idea to keep in mind. I definitely have to write a version that's just his. Alright, well that's... we got our starting set, and we should probably start with that. Alright, let's open up rooknegotiation.lua. Take a look at that. Herring. And diversion isn't actually defined here. Get it down in modifiers. Snails, rickheads, he's gonna need those. Argument with 3 resolve. They do remove each other if they are mutually exclusive. I don't think I've actually run into that before. That's interesting. Coin. Diversion, here we are. Every time you gamble up to 12, this argument must be targeted, blah blah blah. Source. Alright, let's see if this just works if it's on the NPC. Attack. And target is this, and... That probably works. That just loops into can play card. I'm actually curious if bait looks the same or if it has... That'll probably be negotiation defs. Be targeted before everything else. Yeah, that's just the same. Yeah, that's just a copy paste. Right? Only verify targets if you're not targeting yourself. That's a good thing to know. Gamble. Do broadcast pre-gamble, and I do broadcast gamble. Okay. So diversion will just work if we put it on him. It should just work. Alright then. So we need to add a behavior that's just... Self-diversion equals self-add argument diversion, alright. Alright, that is now on the table as an argument we can deploy. We'll eventually need to define his cycle and figure out when we do these things, but for now, that's that. I think we will also do... Well, rig heads and rig snails work just fine, or I have a funny feeling. Oh, pre-gamble. That just gives the table to that, doesn't it? And I just copy-pasted that. Yep, alright, yeah, self-prepared flips, there it is. Alright, so that rig heads and rig snails should also just work. We can make like a random thing where... like make a picker there. Trying to look through other behaviors for candy make pickers for the actual cards. All right. And for Slugstore and Blockade, I'm probably going to have to just write my own versions of those modifiers. Oh, and call it as well. I'm going to need call it. So let's write some modifiers. Got our core. Do anything fancy with owner name for now. I never remember the arguments for the description function. Never have, never will. It's self-format string. Do I? We'll flip the coin for as many stacks as he's got. So that question is, I need to get to this function here, which means I need to have the core accessible. It should all be able to be done with just an event handler. Begin turn. Really, you don't have... No, not turn. Player turn. Huh. You really don't, huh? Alright. Yes, okay. How do you get core? cores. Find coargument. Okay. Or I. Gamble source self? I think that'll do it. I need an icon for this, but I don't have one. Oh, I need that to be either time or times. Alright, let's go ahead and load this up to make sure it deploys and works, which means we need to define his cycle. Alright then, we need to define his cycle. Cycle is a function of self. Oh, actually, self turns is also part of a few of them. So self, and we'll probably be wanting to count turns, so yeah. Let's just have you... every turn, choose card, self-call it, and choose growing numbers. Alright. Let's go ahead and restart. Have... what did I miss? 475. Did I mess up the syntax of 4? Probably. Needs to be in. How do I just do something a number of times? Doesn't need to be in anything, does it? Well, it clearly does for the syntax to work, but... Well, we've hit our first snag and I don't... Alright, I'm just gonna Google some Lua. Alright. Oh, I should be doing I equals 1. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not, it would be I in if it was just I by itself, but I need to do I equals 1 to self stacks. Yeah. And of course, I just copied over events, and in this file I've defined negotiation deaths event as minigame event, because I've got both on this file, because I've trying to define a whole bunch of stuff for one character in one file. Missing modifier type? Excuse? We're missing this? Missing modifier type. Alright, yeah, no, right. It's always little things, right? Exact wording. Oh, right, these just auto do that. This is an argument. It's blue. Okay, we made it to title screen. Alright, let's load him up. Here we go. Okay. And there we go. Attempt to compare number with nil. What did I mess up? 3 to 3. This is in Gamble? Alright, so it doesn't like this logic on this side. Is hedge chance nil? Yeah, let's take a look at that. Its chance is 50. Oh, it also doesn't have a max resolve. I should probably make sure that's taken care of. It probably needs to be reasonably high, right? If it's ever gonna survive. Should he always flip once a turn? I don't think he should. But if you manage to keep that argument down all the time, it's always, well... You can shut him down, but you're not doing a lot of damage to the core argument. Well, we'll set it at like 4 or something and worry about balancing it later. First, we need to make sure it works. Anyway, back to figuring out why this is crashing. Attempt to compare number with nil. Alright, let's look at some things that gamble. Well, I'm clearly inside the method. That might not be a bad idea to have that done on apply. Oh, I'm doing dot instead of colon. Ugh. Why did I do a dot instead of a colon? It's a method, genius. Ugh. I just forget syntax a lot. It seems to be my problem. That's where a lot of my bugs come from, is just I haven't actually drilled Lua. So I just do these stupid things to myself and wonder why everything's crashing. Alright, assuming there's not any more stupid things waiting in the wings. Hey! 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 Look at that! Look at that! Honestly, he probably should just flip his coin at the start of every turn. And then call it can be like he does it in additional time, and that's dangerous. Which corner of Brooklyn have you wandered into? Good question. Yeah, putting his core functionality on an argument. I don't know if I like him flipping his coin every turn, but as long as it's a minor effect, I might... If I'm doing it every turn, I might just nerf him from the bog coin to the spare coin. So it's only 1 composure and 1 damage. Well, something to put on the table. Let's go ahead and... Because I think this is just going to be kind of a pain and too easy to shut him down if it's all on an argument. And he's never... He might never gamble after the first turn. Yeah. Alright, let's go back to the code. Additional time. The first letter of the alphabet, followed by the first letter of the alphabet, followed by the first letter of the alphabet. AAA? What? Anyway. So let's just go ahead and give him the same A, yeah. I can't really pull off that accent. On hand drawn, he always flips heads, so that it demonstrates that the coin does work, and he starts with 2 of that. Yeah, I just feel it. I feel the Brooklyn deep inside. Is it alright if it calls itself to gamble? Probably. Yeah, the Joey Wheeler might be to blame. There was a fair bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! On the TV as a child. Alright. then he's probably not going to end up pushing out a call at every turn, and probably doesn't need to be that strong. Alright, let's update the description to say... Let's make sure that the first flip is maintained. Oh wait, no, it'll... it'll flip once at the start when the first hand is drawn, and then at the start of his turn every time. Okay, restart. Okay. All right, description's fine. All right, so now at the start of his turn, he should flip it twice. Now he should flip it 3 times. Alright, that's already pretty dangerous. Not gonna lie. Gaining a flip every turn is actually a little nuts. It will make you melt, especially on top of him doing normal attacks. And these are probably impatience queuing up. Oh boy. Alright. Well, now that's just too powerful to be every turn. But we have behavior, and also we should probably think about finding a icon to do on that modifier. In the data zip for a sec. Negotiation modifiers. Let's see, what would have a good icon to use here? No, those are just modifiers for the various types of coins. They don't, the textures are supposed to go on that thing, that widget. Momentum, maybe? That was odd. There we go. Adding arguments that modify their own resolve is tricky with the slider. That might be it, honestly. That's a good icon for flipping additional coins. That'll be... Come on. Find the home, fingers. Did I smell that right? Yes. Okay. And as for his cycle... Probably want that to happen on every other turn. Alright, let's try that. Make sure it works. Alright, it is turn 1. He is not deploying an argument. Flips a coin. And hits for damage. It is now turn 2. There's probably a better icon for that, but I can figure that out later. I just really can't stand that pink no texture. Alright, and then he deploys his second, call it. Well, I definitely feel like he's been nerfed a bit. Man, are we already an hour into this? Man, time flies. Alright. Well, we now have behavior. That's pretty sweet. Ideally, I'd get him some quips so that he actually does the coin flip animation when he does his thing. But I'm still figuring out quips, so I can figure that out later. Alright, gonna hydrate real quick. Well, we're an hour in. How's everybody doing? It's only taken an entire hour to give Rook an attack and one argument. All because I couldn't remember that a dot gets a property and a colon gets a method. Off to just another day of me trying to pretend I'm a modder. All right, back to the code. You've got diversion. Let's see. Some of the time is doing, some is learning. Absolutely, Neek. Absolutely. And honestly, this is a really fun learning experience and problem-solving experience, or else I wouldn't be doing it like for a few hours every day for the past 3 weeks. Well, not every day, but still. Do I want to test to make sure reg and diversion work before I do anything else? I do. Can I do a multiplier on arguments? Let's find out. I could look it up, look up the actual method, or I could just test it here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll pick randomly between heads or tails because they are mutually exclusive. So, in his current cycle as it is defined, he will, on every second turn, create a call it argument to potentially gamble an additional time next turn. He'll also put down a diversion every turn. Actually, it should probably put down if, what would be the right phrasing for this? If not self-negotiator, negotiator as modifier, then if you don't already have one, add one. This will be every turn he doesn't have diversion, which will not be his final behavior, but for purposes of testing. Alright, let's make sure all of that works. Well, yeah. Choose card. If I take those numbers off the rig. I could just do it twice there. I could just do it twice in the cycle. I don't need to do it. I don't need to put it in the argument. There we go. All right. Restart one more time. What's going on? Oh, of course. I forgot to put in the parentheses for math random. No, there's a different area that's causing this problem. So that's diversion. Okay, so why is call it fine, but diversion is not? Oh, because I put in Diverian, which doesn't exist. It's always a typo. Why don't I write for a fraction of a living, and I don't usually have typos, or usually catch them before they, you know, get published. Apparently when I code, I just lose about half of my ability to type. Diverian. Ugh. This adds like 30 minutes to my day for every task. This stupid thing's getting wrong. Can you tell I don't do this professionally? Alright. This should be either rig heads or snails and diversion. He has rigged heads. Guarantees that your next one gambles heads. That might be... The syntax on the description is directed at the player, but it's... NPC arguments are usually have syntax referring to their own characters. But in order to change that, I think I would have to basically rewrite these arguments so that they are on the NPC side. Let's skip that track. But it should work. Yep. Yep. Probably needs to rig additional... Otherwise it just, you know... That's going. It's still going. Riggings one is fine, just it doesn't have to be every turn. I know that any experienced player seeing this is going to be like, oh, it means Rook. But I should probably write an NPC version. Well, I don't... I'm already rewriting a lot of modifiers. I don't know if wording is... It's just kind of weird reading it and realizing it's not, oh, well, I'm not gambling. It obviously refers to Rook gambling. And a player will, you know, a player who's installing Steam Workshop mods will probably, you know, suss that out. But I feel like it's a thing that does kind of take you out. I will probably rewrite an NPC version of these rigs and diversions so that they they refer to the proper owner. But for now they work. He's getting very argument heavy. I'm gonna need to space these out. Alright, well, now we get to writing the two that we need, which is Blockade and Slugstorm. Our other two custom modifiers, and then we should have all the tools we need to tweak his cycle and make him an opponent. Alright. Start with Blockade. Let's look at the actual Blockade card and just copy that. Well, it forces the gamble itself and compares the result it wants. But this is the part we do want. Could probably just keep it as that. Heads, apply X composure to all your arguments. That can probably be 2 for now. But we need... Probably looking at a game event gamble, self result source. This is whenever he gambles. So if result equals minus, that's a comment, equals heads, then say 3 for now. Or I modifier in blah blah blah, modifier delta composure. Bada bing, bada boom. Easy peasy. Needs an icon, but that's the lesser important thing at the moment. Let's go ahead and build. Actually, let's make sure we. Make sure we have that there. Also, I was rewatching the previous stream, and I realized that I kept calling curly braces semicolons, which mortified me a bit. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. How's everyone doing? Anyone still awake? Oh boy. Yeah, I can just copy this. Chillin'? That's good. I hope this is a chill stream. Slugstorm is real dangerous if this goes off. Oh, not like that. It does 2 damage to all the ones with health. Okay, I see. Now, if it's this dangerous, I might just go ahead and... just, yeah, nerf him down to the spare coin. Also, probably variabilize. So that I don't have to do a whole lot of changing. Although I will have to localize, format all of those strings. No, that's... We can do it manually for now. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Build as snails. Get all the arguments that have resolve and aren't like invincible or inceptions. Then for all of those, hit them. Probably leave that off. Okay. That should be our custom arguments. She only gets one of these. This is just for testing. Gonna get one of these every turn if he doesn't already have it. Oh, max resolve, right. Two to start. 3. Let's make that 2. Oh, 3 for blockade, 2 for Slugstorm might be fine. Slugstorm's more immediately dangerous. Alright. Of course. It's always... That's just one of those errors I'm just gonna make every single time and not really even think about it. Not even worry about it. Just like, I can fix that one. It's like 10 seconds. Dum-de-dum. Control R. There we go. Alright. Show me. That's a lot of arguments. Slugstorm. Snails deal 2 damage to all enemy arguments. Blockade. Heads apply 2 composure to all your arguments. Should probably rephrase these so that it's like this this applies this composure to all of Rook's arguments, not your, but wording. I've already talked about why I want that to be clear. And he will roll a snails, so we'll probably get hit by Slugstorm. In fact, let's make sure I've got other modifiers to hit. Oh. Variable minigame is not declared. I copy-pasted something I shouldn't. Minigame apply persuasion. Yep, that's right. I did this wrong. And now I'm cornered. Alright, how do we access minigame from self again? I've had to solve this problem before and I never remember how to do it. Apply persuasion. How do I apply persuasion from an event? Any chance event gamble can have a minigame argument. No, of course not. Because that's what the broadcast event carries. Right. How do we get to minigame apply persuasion in... How do we get to apply persuasion in a method with no minigame, only conditions? We're inside a condition, the event handler of a condition. So, negotiation, sorry, not condition, modifier. So negotiation modifier. Owner. Probably negotiator, self-negotiator. I don't think I have the file where negotiator is defined. To look through scripts. Character aspects. And that's persuasion accumulator. Negotiation engine? Retrospect seems like a decent idea. There we go. Negotiator. Negotiator, modifiers, get modifier stacks. Engine. It's gotta be engine, right? Self-negotiator.engine. All right, time to find out. All right, hit me. Just woke up from a nap. An hour and a half later, we're getting progress. We're just trying to solve some bugs now. Blockade, Slugstorm. We are on heads at the moment, so it should apply to combustion. Yep, there we go. Yep. All right, rigged heads again. Hit snails. There we go. All right. I'm just saying gibberish at this point. myself some extra arguments to target. Oh, that hurts a lot. Oh, dang. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm glad I nerfed the basic coin. Because if Rook gets online, that just hits. Dang. And he's got a diversion out, which means I can't actually hit anything but his core, and he's flipping a coin every turn. 3 times a turn. Alright, we've created something kind of nasty. This is also a lot of arguments at once that we're not going to have all at once, I don't think. Now I just need some icons for our Blockade and Slugstorm, rewrite the descriptions a bit. And we should be fine. Also, something about the description is bugging me. That's fine. Oh. Once we figure out some icons for these, then the trick is going to be getting his cycle to a point where it feels fine. Which will probably take a bit more doing, but will actually be fun and active rather than fixing bugs. Because I think these are all the arguments he really needs. We just need to space them out. And that can be done by basically counting turns. Get some water. All right. Let's go hunting for textures. Actually, should be checking to see what ones that Rook already makes, because I think these are got a few that are similar. Create. Whenever you gamble, deal 2 damage to random, making an argument. Fallout might be good for that. I need to look up these ones he creates too. Foresight gain. Oh, I should also look at Vanish his texture too. Strategy, stack deck. Strategy, stack deck, Vanish, Foresight. Fallout. We are hunting for textures. That's pretty good for the coin. That might be better for Call It. Already forgotten. Probably not. Well, that is like 2 coins. I forgot the name of the one where it's every time. Flip. Fallout. Well, dang. That's dramatic. This is what I currently got for Call It. Okay. Any other candidates? I'm just looking through the list in data.zip/negotiation/modifiers. What do those look like? Pretty dramatic. Well, at the very least, I think I like Foresight better for... the texture for Call It. Alright, but that just leaves Blockade and Slugstorm. I feel like Fallout's a little dramatic. Like, that's pretty on point for Fallout, not so much for Slugstorm. Hmm. This is always the hard part for me, is picking art. I spend a long time just looking through these textures, being like, well, what would be best out of all these options? Because might be surprised to know they've made a lot. Nope, that's temp for Smith. Not using that. Oh man, wait a minute. Sluggish for Snailstorm. I think it'd be cute. Sluggish for Slugstorm. No, yeah, that's Snailstorm. What was I? Yeah, let's do that one. No, sluggish. No, sluggish, come on. Okay, now I just need to find the perfect one for, blockade. Something that describes, like, no, you're not getting through. Stonewall, maybe? Well, that's temp for Smith. They'll probably have an actual one in the future. Or might even have it in the experimental. Looks alright, but not really what I'm looking for. What is obscurity? Probably doesn't really fit blockade. Never mind. Hold on. No. Yeah, that'll do. All right, we got there. All right, with that done, let's go ahead and check to make sure that all works. All right, hello there. I'm just gonna go ahead and play on this one. The sluggish one. That's funny. All right. Let's steal that. A lot of stuff happens on his turn. Why did that composure all disappear? Did the intent get added before the start of the turn, or? Those should all be new intents. May need to delay it to the start of the turn. Just in case there's an event where... Alright, things to consider for later. I'm gonna steal that Starstorm again. Oh, right, yeah. Dang. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I wasn't keeping an eye on Call It. Oh. Little scary. Not actually dangerous yet, in terms of damage, but... Alright. Errant has a pretty hard counter in the form of Appropriator, being able to just delete an argument and steal it. So, Rook here might actually need a buff on top of spacing out his modifiers. Just because Errant can and will shut him down. Shut down his most dangerous stuff. But the fine details of that are probably beyond the scope of this stream. Because we have successfully created at least a basic prototype behavior for Rook that respects the flavor of his player behavior. And that might be our goal for today. Although I do kind of want to see it in the wild, so let's... I do have an experimental quest set up to kind of test him.
Sultana Troca? Hello, Tekua? Poche tusse!
Schutzone.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to get him to equip correctly. Because I need to have him flip the coin.
Sita Pion! Hanashusina! Belkiote!
Sia Chopin.
Yeah, even Aaron's basic deck, it's pathetically easy to knock out all of his arguments. I might need to nerf Aaron's, actually. I ended up buffing her negotiation a lot because she was starting to really die out there on difficulties 3 and 4. But I might actually need to scale her back a bit.
Miotiotsa! Saposepe.
That wink also really isn't from character.
Shokukesa.
We're gonna have to.
Shokukesa.
Sureshe.
It does kind of mean you're all over the place, though, because he's... the way he works right now is a little interesting in that you're just kind of all over the place, and the next thing that happens could really, like, make your next turn a bit more complicated. Either you can kind of keep him down or try and focus down his core. Could probably stand to be doing a bit more, a little bit more damage. Can boost his choose growing numbers a bit.
Sakato. Hanashusina.
Ow! Okay. Dang. Wow.
Patana Tusua.
There we go. Well, since we're here. So, this is the version where his weaknesses are exposed as well. He has no core resolve, but his coin should still work. And we can get these weakness cards for the upcoming fight. But we also have our own weaknesses potentially exposed, which will give us conditions for the fight. I needed to build negotiation behavior for Rook so I could test this out. This sort of thing. The question is whether we can make this happen with our basic deck. Oh, he's got... Oh, diversion's gonna make this a pain, too. Oh. I should have done that first, because I get a bonus for a bounty on this. Ah, dang. Alright, well, you got vulnerability now. This can be wild. Rook flipping a coin and doing a thing that has... you don't get a preview for. That makes him actually kind of extra dangerous. Which probably would feel bad in the base game, but for a mod, might be acceptable. We did get one weakness off of him. Ours are still fine. Let's try to go for the full Monty here. Oh, jeez, that's not good.
Patana Tusua.
Gonna create that and save it for later. Yeah, we really need to space out all these arguments. He's making too much. Gonna lose my influence on this round. Oh dear. Call getting too big. Oh boy. Yeah, I need you to stop doing things for a second. Do have a diversion up. Ugh. You're gonna flip 3 times. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Oh my god! I've created a monster. Oh my. I'm gonna need like a slow down replay of everything that just happened there. Holy crap. Oh, right, he's got two slug storms up because now he destroyed the one I appropriated. Oh, that's super dangerous. And he just hit everything for like 100. Okay. Right. Grifters. Thing about grifters is that they're pretty... They're pretty nothing until they get all the things they need, and then they just two-shot you. Oh my goodness gracious. Well then.
Parashusina. Shokukesa.
Oh, I'm gonna lose so hard. Unless I start the fight right now.
Gatami.
Alright, we got some weakness cards. But we also exposed our own. Because Rook annihilated them. Also, for the battle, I made Rook have a pet. Because I usually end up playing Rook with a pet. And if he's on his own, he's a bit more dangerous. My boss version Rook deals burning and also gains concentration, which increases his attack damage by half and his defense gained on the next time he cranks, so... No, I need to make sure that triggers after the chest beam. Get bleeding. Tear off that stem. See how you like it. You gotta attack Rook to make sure his concentration stays low. Oh, we are in some trouble. Rook's about to do his fan the hammer. And I've had charge for 3 turns. So they're removing strange chemical and gaining evasion. So that's nice. Get some more bleed on you. Uh-oh. And I'm dead. Alright, well. Probably would have had a slightly better time if Rook hadn't destroyed me in the negotiation and my deck was upgraded. But it's supposed to be not easy. It's kind of the final boss of what I have planned for Aaron's story. Well, that was illuminating. Obviously, it's not going to stay like that. But, that will probably do it for our broadcast day. That took a wild turn at the end. Alright, well, thank you for watching through this. I really do appreciate it. I will see about doing this again sometime when I have a concrete thing to do, because usually I'm working on like a bunch of little things at once, but yeah, once I've got something to show off and test is when I try to do these things. But I hope this was you know, interesting to watch and follow. And yeah, this, I can't believe I've done this twice and it's been fun both times. Alright. Thank you very much. See you next time.